Welcome back to Comic Book ASMR. Today we're going to be doing another comic book haul video, and I don't have any collectibles to show off. A little later in the video I will show off pictures of my completed Turtles playset scene that I made with my figures attached to the Technodrome and all that good stuff, so I'll show that off when we get through our first store folio. But yeah, let's just get right into it. First off, we have Robin and Batman Jason Todd number 3. This is the last part in this mini-series, but the artist has said that he will go on to do the Tim Drake story as well, so we'll get all the Robins. And then the question begs, is he going to do one for Damian as well? He probably will if he's doing all the Robins, I would imagine. But he said that there are more to come. But yeah, no, I just love Dustin's style here. Really beautiful. As I've said many, many times, anytime we can see more than just kind of the standard comic book art in a book, I get pretty happy, especially when it's like a cover artist doing interiors. So yeah, this series is all about Jason Todd's struggle to be Batman's partner, to, you know, be the good little soldier. And yeah, it's a good story, and I'm sure the trade will be out in a couple months or so if you missed the individuals. Next we got some Bad Idea here. We have Survive number 1. We've got our spot gloss on matte cover. And this is, I mean, the title's Survive, so this is a survival story about a Russian Navy guy who is trying to survive on a submarine. And yeah, just quality work is always what I expect from Bad Idea. It's good stuff. And there'll be a new one next month. And yeah, like I said, recently they have decided to put Bad Idea into any shop that uses Lunar Distributors, I believe is the correct one. So that opens up the possibilities for more shops to get them. And then there's little bonus stories in the back, and I believe the bonuses are like previously when they were like, you know, convention exclusive type stuff. So this one here is Hero of the Year, self-contained one shot, and then there's a preview for Leave Now, and the art for this looks beautiful as well. And I think this was a Kickstarter project if I remember initially. I love the La Rosa covers here. And then I read too, so since this story is all about time travel, you know, he switches, he's doing like some time sliding type stuff here. So I heard that there's actually, they just announced there's going to be an alternative ending issue you can get as well, kind of in the spirit of, you know, the time sliding. And right here we can see, so like these two pages look almost identical, and then you get like your respawn with a different ending type of a thing. So it can be kind of cool. I know time travel is sometimes very confusing, but still fun. Next we got Cul-de-Sac number 2, and this one is just kind of really a surprise hit. Another Bad Idea book here. It's about like kids who didn't know that they're vampires, discovering that they are, and then stuff with their parents too. Their parents get killed who are also vampires, and all this crazy stuff. Now I am confused. Like I said, the price point is the same for these. Yeah, they're both $5.99, but these are done up in newsprint, and they're not spot gloss or, you know, no cover there. The interior work's still quality. It's really fun to look at. I love the art a lot. It's cartoony yet gruesome, sketchy in parts, like with the black and white mixed in. it's really fun to look at, absolutely. I'm just kind of confused about the pricing, since I know newsprint typically is which it makes the production cost cheaper, but I know newsprint now is not kind of the common thing. Most companies won't even do newsprint anymore. So that might be why now it's considered a premium, since it's not a standard thing. No, it's not. Now, if it was all black and white, then that would be another kind of sort of a thing, because I know black and white really brings your costs down, but I don't know. So yeah, this also has another backup in it as well. We have spaceship. So like I said, I think this is another convention thing that they're now just throwing in the backs too. Like I said, they've kind of pivoted from their initial mission, which was like no reprints, all this type of stuff, shop exclusivity, which, don't get me wrong, I love their and more shops and all that. I mean, I just love just kind of how they're all over the place. There's kind of no set tone for this type of company. They're kind of just like a new rising indie, just kind of trying new things. Sometimes very gimmicky, annoying things people will say, but it's fine. I think it's fun. It just kind of throws a curveball in collecting, keeps you on your toes. So here's the upcoming releases here. And that's the thing too, they've got kind of it all checklist out here, where you can be ahead of the curve on it. Okay, next we've got Superman number 29, Legion of Darkseid Part 2, more beautiful Dan, more art. Now for me, I don't know anything really about, I guess Superman Prime, or is it Superboy-Prime? There you go, Superboy-Prime. I don't know much about him, I just know he's kind of this OP character. So this is kind of interesting for me, because I only really just seen what he looks like. I haven't really read many of the books that he's been a part of. I know if I remember one point he like pushed the Earth out of orbit, if I remember. But yeah, it's interesting. He speaks kind of in a more casual sort of way. It seems like, based upon those first couple pages, his backstory is he was someone who grew up reading Superman books from one of these timelines, I'm sure. And he's aware that he's in a comic, he's breaking the fourth wall, all this type of stuff. This is a really cool shot, by the way. But yeah, he seems kind of interesting, so now I kind of want to know more. I want to go re-hunt down his McFarlane figure that I used to randomly see. It wasn't really one that ever really sold out much. But it's interesting to me. He seems definitely more childish, and I guess he is. It's Superboy-Prime, not Superman, but I don't know. He just seems kind of interesting to me. So, but yeah, this continues to be a solid book. I love the current Superman run. Dan Mora's art is phenomenal, and I think it really, really works with Superman. I've seen him draw other things too, but I think that's where he shines, is kind of with Superman in particular. Next we have Absolute Batman number 12, and I really, really liked this one. This one gives us a whole lot of, we kind of see the becoming of the Rogues Gallery, how they are created, a lot of them in this particular issue here. So, and this literally picks up where the previous one left off. Killer Croc helped Batman escape from Bane's torture facility. And yeah, we get a little flashback here. And then we get into the backstory about how previously in the series all the villains had been his friends. So now we see them becoming. So we get a tortured, severely pummeled version of the Penguin here, where Bane surgically just kind of, he didn't hit any major arteries, but injured him in such a way that he's not going to grow correctly anymore. His body's going to be messed up. I says, if Oswald lives, he'll be almost 2 feet shorter, and his hands and feet, it'll be hard for him. He'll be in constant pain. And then I'm not going to spoil the rest, but yeah, so it goes through kind of all of his friends there, seeing most of the other guys. I think by the end they've revealed 4 or so additional characters. Then we have Absolute Superman number 11. And we see more Brainiac madness here. I just really love kind of the sadistic tone they've given to Brainiac. More gruesome, He's always been, very, just very cold and calculating and that sort of thing. And he still is, only now it's like he likes to play with the cadavers more or less. So he's managed to take on capturing Superman here. One thing I noticed, I know he's been in the previous issues, but it really stood out to me in this issue that Jimmy Olsen has a real Gambit aesthetic going on. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but I just thought that was kind of funny. Jimmy looks very Gambit-like. Yeah, see? And then we see more stuff, interactions with Lois and, her dad and stuff. But solid good stuff all around. Next we have Batman number 1. This is the relaunch. This is the Jim Lee cover. I wish this was a full, full fold-out cover here. I'm assuming number 2 might give us the second part of this. But yeah, so the Hush storyline has been put on the back burner so they could push this through. I think they wanted this out in time for Batman Day, which is September 20th, if my memory serves correctly. So this starts Matt Fraction on the series here, which if I remember, I think he's a writer based in Kansas City. If I'm not mistaken, I remember when I was in college in Missouri, I was reading articles in kind of the local paper about his rise to comic book writing success, which I thought was kind of interesting. He was either in like Kansas City, Kansas, or Kansas City, Missouri. I was based in Missouri at that time, but it was, kind of either or for that. I think he was writing the new Cable series at that time with the Messiah Complex stuff with Hope and all that. But yeah, we see Jorge Jimenez back on the book, and then we see Batman with a different look in this. We've got the blue logo here, which is okay. I mean, I'm partial to the black logo on him, but we get the blue back on the cowl, so that's always good. I do like the blue and gray on him. I do kind of wish we had a different artist. It's not to say that Jorge's work is bad or anything. I've just seen so much of his work already on Batman that I'd like to see someone else take a different crack at it, Because he did a pretty solid run already. So it'd be like, oh, just kidding, I'm back on it. It's like, okay. The art, or rather the coloring, definitely seems lighter in this as well. I could look at the color duties real quick, I suppose. I don't think it's Tamara on them. But, yeah, no. Tomu Mori, which I'm sure he's done plenty of work. I'm sure they don't put people who haven't done a lot of work on kind of a flagship book like Batman. I thought this is interesting too, so we're seeing like more of these little kind of like side bits about the gadgetry and stuff. Kind of reminds me of like the Arkham game and things like that. And I think if I remember, even Fraction had previously done that on the Cable run too, where he'd have like little side footnotes to things. And we see a very crazy looking Killer Croc there. So I suspect we'll continue to see kind of more rogues gallery, other people that Jorge hasn't drawn in the Batman books, make their appearances. That's typically how it works. Like, oh, what characters haven't I drawn? Let's see how we can incorporate them. So next we have Action Comics number 1090, and this will be more of a backstory here with Superman as a teenager, Superboy rather. These random fall covers come out. I love the John Boy one naturally. I do like that they do this, kind of gives you a heads up if there's a cover specifically you're looking for, and I like that they put the variants wrapped over the standard cover. So yeah, we get more high school hijinks here with Clark and just kind of figuring out his style and trying to impress Lana Lane here. A very light color palette, as you can see. Kind of maintaining the lightheartedness of this time in his life. At least that's how I view it. So, and then he's in those trunks as opposed to underwear. He's got sneakers on as well. Alright, that's it for box one. So I'm going to show real quick on screen. This is the finished playset with my figures in it attached to the Technodrome. And then I've got my lower ones, my non-used figures sitting in the storage below. And there's a couple dynamic shots I'll show too, a close of the top and the bottom. And then yeah, so I ran out of Turtles figures. At a point basically I had 2 cases empty from what was sitting there on display. So then I had to move the others over where there was 6 per case. And then on the end I put my rare SWAT Cat figures, which I know they're not Ninja Turtles, but at least they're kind of big and chunky figures that kind of almost fit in aesthetically with it. So I threw them in there. So at this point I'm just waiting to get the Krang's android body figure from my shop, like the big one, not the little one they made, but they've got the full scale one that Krang sits in. They had an issue with some dripping. He was cleaning some marks and stuff off of it, and somehow it would retain some water in it, so he's trying to dry it out for me before I buy it. That'll be the last thing I need to complete my setup, so yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. Alright, next we're going to move on to box number 2. So we start off with Captain America number 3, this fun Stitch Takes Over cover here, goofing on the Captain America number 100, which was when Captain America started to have his own standalone book that he used to share with Iron Man. So we continue to have kind of the modern day Cap, I guess, partnered with Steve, leading the charge and trying to take on Doctor Doom here. Like I said, I'm not really crazy about Steve's new costume here. I don't like the fact that a star really looks like an asterisk, if that's how you pronounce it. You know what I'm talking about. And then, yeah, the new Cap has a very army look to him there, which is kind of cool, but, you know, I'm just invested in Steve Rogers in general, so. And it seems that this one focuses a lot on this new guy more than the Cap classic, so. But it's whatever. At this point, there's been very few current Cap stories that have really grabbed me. That's just kind of what it is. I'm tired of trying to really put expectations on any Cap books I read. I think Marvel is more focused on Spider-Man and the X-Men than they are any other heroes. with an unserious aside for like Deadpool, and I guess there's a few others too. Maybe like, I know Venom was huge when Donny Cates was doing them and stuff like that, but you know what I mean. Alright, next we have Turtles number 11. This is the Eastman cover here. We continue on. This is right after the trial. And then it gives a little flashback here. So we've got the lawyer running back to the Foot Clan hideout here. And the Turtles bring witnesses to the stand to more or less say, hey, no, these guys haven't been the ones attacking us. They've been saving us, on and on and on. So then the lawyer loses his cool in the courtroom. And all this good stuff. Pretty much the Turtles have their redemption here. And then eventually he ends up disturbing Karai while she's doing some mysticism stuff. And it turns very bad for the lawyer, but I'm not going to spoil visuals of that. Next we have the start of the new Shredder series. I don't know if this will be a mini-series or whatever. Like I've said in the past, IDW is really just trying to cash in on their Turtles property, so they're pumping out as many different titles as they can. These nice San Luca covers. He's not doing the interiors. The interiors are by Michelle Bandini. No, it's Bandini, yeah. Which I haven't heard of that artist before, but art's not bad. I liked how it looked, so. So we see a very haggard Shredder here. Unshaven, unkempt, you know. We keep seeing this visual of these worms behind him. He keeps calling everyone worms. All this type of stuff. And then we have him encountering kind of the second in command of the new Foot. Kind of overtaking her. And then it looks like he gets brought into custody here. And then he gets cleaned up, and we still see this visualization with these worms and stuff. And then he sees some new armor here. I think this is an homage to the Turtles, the one that was on Fox. I guess it's 2003 or 2002. You guys know. I haven't really watched that one though, but it feels visually like when I've seen that version of Shredder. So he basically looks at this. He's like, no, I'm not going to use all this. We just need to go with my own physical prowess. So then he more or less adopts a few pieces to be the Shredder we all know and love. And yeah, that starts it off. I do like this cover here by Stepan. And I'm surprised that's not an artist that I've seen work on anything for IDW. But it gives us a very cool look at Shredder. You don't traditionally see him in this sort of way. And we have the Biker Mice, number 30. And yeah, I'm just enjoying it. I don't really remember anything at all from the cartoons and stuff. I know visually I would always draw them a lot in school for other people. They were always just fun to look at, you know. Mice riding bikes, all this sort of stuff. The Limburger, the Fishville, and all this stuff. Visually very, very interesting to look at and draw. And like I said, I think that this is being done by a past Turtles artist from the IDW series. I'm noticing like a lot of fine line work with on the fur and stuff here. So I really like the attention to detail. But yeah, I don't remember much about the Rogues Gallery and stuff. This guy, from what I was reading, like he's one of the established villains from the cartoon show and stuff. But yeah, I'll keep picking it up. I saw they're doing one for the Cowboys of Moo Mesa too, but I've never really got into that at all, so I won't be getting it. I should, but I won't. You got Captain Planet number 3. And this was one I guess they forgot to put in my pull box from the previous haul, actually. So we see Duke Nukem has made an appearance here. Which, I mean, I still like the old Duke Nukem better, where he looks almost very Thing-like, you know. But I'm really curious to see if they kind of use this series as a blueprint to make a Captain Planet modern movie. And we see, I'm blanking on her name here. Oh, I know that's Mal. I can't believe I forgot her name. I'll look at the previous page and I'm sure I'll remember. I think it's Dr. Blight, yeah. Yeah, so I like that I get to see more Rogues Gallery for Captain Planet here. Having a hard time believing that Wheeler could go toe-to-toe with Duke Nukem here. But it's fine, it's whatever. And then by the end of it, Wheeler gets overwhelmed. He's just like, yeah, I don't know if I can do this. So then he walks away from the group with his ring though. So, and we have Captain Planet number 4. And it's looking like this is going to be a mini-series. I see summaries coming up about the finale and all this type of stuff. But I think we've got 2 more, not 1 more in us, because I noticed in the back for the J. Lee variant covers, it looked like they all connect. The first one's Captain Planet, and then 1 for each of the Planeteers, so that would give us 6 issues total, not 5, even though it's marketing. The next issue is the last one. I think we'll still have 1 more after that. So yeah, Loot and Plunder was able to make a copy of Wheeler's ring, and then he makes a synthetic for the other elements. And then by the end of it, well, it was a nice twist. He actually becomes Captain Pollution himself. So Loot and Plunder is gone, and he turns into Captain Pollution rather than them summoning him like how Captain Planet is summoned. So yeah, see the summary, the end is nigh. All this stuff, the final showdown. But yeah, whenever you look in the back at the previous one, it's showing all the covers here. And we have Linka here, and I forget who was on the previous one, but I know issue 1 was the top part with Captain Planet, and then we had Planeteers here and here, so we still need a few more to round out his image, so I think it'll wrap by 6, not 5, even though it's kind of phrasing. Sounds like they're planning on the next one to be, but I don't know about that. Then we have Turtles number 28, and this villain looks very awkward, I can say that. That's all I'll say about that. I think that's a very awkward looking design. I'm not sure if they were in the traditional Saturday morning cartoon or not. I don't think so. I think they bled over a lot of IDW elements. I think that's one of the, one of the ultra powerful, like mythic characters they showed towards maybe issue 100 or so. I remember like the giant eagle and the angel type character and all that. I think there was one that's like a mammoth and stuff. I think they're somehow related to all that. I'm not really sure. But yeah, I just continue to be super impressed how this artist manages to make this stuff look just like screen stills from the cartoon. I do not know how they do it. I don't know if they've ever shared their secret. I know on a random like Instagram post I'd be like, hey, yeah, I love how you make your stuff look like that. How do you do it? I've just gotten like a heart from them. And that's pretty much it. So just like, I have no idea, but I'm blown away. because it really is just like the cartoon extended. It's really neat. I have books sliding off to the side of me. Almost still showing off here. Maybe, I think this is the last one. Hold on, I'm gonna lift it. Okay, lastly, this is the Hero Trade Project Chimera number 2, which I didn't read this because I somehow missed number 1 for this, and I still have to read that collected trade I have over there on my shelf. But as you guys know, Hero Trade was kind of the secret launch title for Bad Idea before it was even labeled as Bad Idea. Later on, I think several months, if not even 6 months later, they're like, hey, remember that book at Comic-Con that came out? Oh, that was one of ours. And then they went back and made a whole bunch of other stuff. So yeah, the sucker's black and white. And see, this is black and white and on newsprint, and it still manages to be $6. But it is, it's not just a 32-pager either. We have bonus pages. So it includes the material here. Like I said, I think that this is another con one they had. I vaguely remember like they were giving away like donuts and these Bunsen Beaver books together. And then you'll get the same. Oh, I guess we don't get. I thought this was also going to have the sample of Save Now in there. It does not have it in there because I guess there's plenty of story here. But yeah, that's gonna do it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you want to see. And as always, you all have a super slumber. Thanks.